Zero-sum empathy. The torture never stops, Frank Zappa sang, way back in 1976. He weren't wrong. In this synthetically manufactured, drug-addled world we inhabit, empathy has become a zero-sum game to the cultural conversation. A societal good that must only ever benefit women. More often than not at the expense of men. It is as though empathy is a natural resource, limited in its bounty and as such not available in plentiful supply. I find this difficult to comprehend, but there you have it. Somewhere in a Polish mine, male workers dig and carry empathy out of the ground on their bent backs, burdened by the weight of it crushing down on them. It is then doled out in limited quantities to those most deserving of it. Not women, not man, but the ones which feminism deems deserving of empathy. The ones who work for the cause of feminism according to their ability are giving according to their needs. A maddeningly twisting and turning road crisscrossing the whitewashed castles where empathy is accumulated in great stores and delivered in small quantities to those in dire need of this natural resource. Not everyone can receive empathy. Responses are deadpan ridiculous. What, you want empathy? Well, suck on your thumb and go lick a lemon. This empathy is for the whammons. The weird fractioning of our societies is born from the tainted, shivering skeletons of destructive class warfare. Pitting women against men and men against women in a continually escalating war. Born from the stinging sensation that men are oppressors by nature. And as such, men are not deserving of empathy, love, care or consideration by their very nature. The apex fallacy back at it in full fucking swing. I've got them old cosmic blues again, mama. My back is bent and troubled, and I ain't got no home, and I ain't got no job, and my children are missing in the crossfires of mad divorce. But it don't matter, because I am privileged, here I lie in the gutters, sucking on a bottle of dubious homebrew in an attempt to keep warm. Can I please receive some empathy? Nope. You are a patriarchal oppressor. Sorry, brah. Now check your privilege. Empathy is a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore. It is reserved for the plight of womanhood. What, did you honestly believe that you would garner some empathy and understanding for your troubles? No need to make yourself out to be so pitiful. Are you unaware that somewhere out there are people who actually believe that women should not get state-funded abortions brought to their bedside and delivered by caring hands by the hundreds? How can a privileged male expect empathy and understanding when this atrocity of opinion is unfolding before our very eyes and quivering lips? Get rid of that fedora. Go shave your neckbeard, shitlord. Expecting society to show empathy for troubled men and boys is misogyny by the bucket load. Shit and filth dug up from the trenches of gender warfare. Bullets flying by at ridiculous speeds. Coarse screams of pain. Vivid visions of dismemberment, death and destruction, pure filth. Raising concern for men and boys take away from the concerns raised about women and girls. You have to know this. Empathy is a zero-sum game, and the mining of empathy must stop at some point. The stocks must leave the crippled hands of the Polish mine workers, all grey of skin and bent of back from the laborious process of extracting empathy from the miraculous beating heart of Gaia herself. The essence of all empathy. To consider both men and women would be a task impossible in scope. There simply is not enough empathy to go around. Please leave your empathy at the door. The door just so happened to open up into an orphanage for girls. Or a battered woman's shelter. That's where it belongs, with the women and with the girls. Boys and men can go fuck themselves in the gutters and be raped by angry needles. Or was that angry beavers, screaming and drooling madly in their faces as they raised concerns over this unequal doling out of empathy? I'm talking, fuckface. Shut up. Okay then, you venomous harpy. I'll shut up. Now please show me the loving, caring and empathetic nature of womanhood you scream so loudly and passionately about, with spittle flying from your plasticine eyes and insane, unblinking contempt vibrating in harmony with your shattered chakras. Om mani padme harumph. Bah, humbug. No? Did not think so. Denying half of the human race empathy is par for the course when looking for the fabled land of equality, all mad frowns and gutter-mouthed trolls. Sun rise, sun shine, but it shines only for thee, whereas the bells do toll for me. And the trolls don't turn to stone in the sun. It merely solidifies their scorn and contempt. See, I have tried and tried again to comprehend how talking about issues disproportionately affecting boys and men somehow detracts from talking about the issues affecting women. And I have failed to reach any level of comprehension in regards to this mad, intoxicated whiplash logic. In particular, when feminism claims to work for the well-being of boys and men as well as the well-being of girls and women. Equality between the sexes. That is what feminism is all about. That is their doctrine. Too bad equality does not mean equality. Equality equals woman. It is a one-way street in a town with one street. How exactly does feminism help men and boys? Point me in the right direction, please. Is it by telling them that they are scum for wanting to sit in an audience listening to someone talk about the mental health of boys and men in order to comprehend the suicide of a near and dear friend? Or by telling them that their nature is pathologic? Is it by being a nasty woman? Fucking authoritarian hypocrites. It's like watching a mother who smokes 5 packs a day berate her son for smoking. The habit is picked up somewhere. If feminism do not want to be attacked as an ideology, perhaps they should not attack men and boys as a gender. See, here's the major difference. Feminism is an ideology. A set of ideas to be followed dogmatically and blindly. No idea is above scrutiny and no idea is above criticism. One chooses to wear the labeled blindfold of feminism. In choosing this dubiously transparent label in order to work towards what one perceives as equality, one has chosen to think as the hive thinks. One has chosen the path of least resort, the path that grants the benefit of being able to attack with impunity and immunity all those who oppose. Because, after all, it is only about equality, as the manipulation of discourse dictate. By being born male, one does not choose to be born male. Men are not an ideology to be attacked and picked apart, even if the feminist gobblesmack theory theorizes that this is the case. No, asserts. They assert that this is the case. Women are not under attack when feminism is attacked, even if the feminist douchebaggery deems it so. Feminism is under attack. Feminism may own the discourse and they may own the establishment. However, feminism do not own women and they do not own men. And more men and women are waking up to the nonsensical screech that is the choir of the feminist Illuminati. The establishment pretending to fight the establishment. All jargon, false statistics and gibberish. Oh, but feminism is not a monolith. Yeah. Fuck that bullshit right up the ear and infected sinus. What a great excuse to ignore and falsely push away the damage done. You know what is not a monolith? Men are not a monolith. And yet, men are treated as such by virtue of birth. The future is female. Men must be reduced to about 10% of the population, or placed in concentration camps. That's how it goes. Welcome to obscurity. Picking out, picking apart, hiding the shadow under the light and covering the light in nights of blood-stained satin. Poisonous fumes rising from the toxic wasteland following the devastating impact of the estrogen bomb. Talking about men's issues detract from the issues of women. Okay then. Is that a admission from feminists that talking about female issues detracts from male issues? Or are the rules, such as they are, designed in just such a way as to only work one way? The mind-numbing arrogance of it all, the maddening double standards. It is astonishing in its cruelty and belligerent abuse. Dialogues are not designed to be monologues. Feminists would do well to learn this. And if, as feminists loudly proclaim, men have no idea what it is like to be a woman, well, then women have no idea what it's like to be a man, and feminists least of all. Feminists should not be the ones to speak on issues affecting men. They claim to do so. They claim to be the only ones who should do so. They do not, and they are not. Then they shut down our conferences and shut down screenings of the Red Pill movie, simultaneously claiming that they do not and that the opposite is fact, even when provably not so. The mask is failing. They are in their death throes, fighting for dear life. The lies are becoming obvious, and the hatred brought to light by their best and brightest shine through the dewy mists of equal mornings, bringing with it droplets of reason and empathy for all, trickling slowly down onto the fresh grass of non-feminist discourse in a deafening roar of thunder and a blinding flash of lightning. Strange how this transparent hatred and contempt have managed to keep its place in the heads and minds and thoughts and feelings of our cultures as the true battle for equality. Absolutely incredible how the double speak and double standards are not picked apart at a grander scale than it is. How the claim that women's issues are not properly addressed is taken as fact, when it clearly is not fact. It is the issues of men and boys that are not taken seriously. Look to the suicides. Look to the homeless. Look to the funding for shelters for victims of domestic abuse. Look to the statistics on domestic violence to see through the broken prism of feminism doctrine. Whenever these issues affecting men and boys are raised, the feminists come careening in, screeching and hollering on prime-time television how these men are nothing but a conglomerate of misogynists and foul patriarchs firing cannons of vile abuse at women. Sure, men kill themselves more than women, but women attempt suicide more, so really we should be talking about how this affects women. Sure, it is mostly men who are victims of assaults and violence, but it is men doing the violence. So really, we should be talking about how this affects women. If, failing that and being unable to show women suffering more, the conversation twists even more. Then the egalitarian foglights come on, and the feminists say that this is not a gendered issue, that we should show concern for both genders, so why are we only focusing on men? Herp, derp, twist, turn, manipulate, and carry on. I absolutely believe that issues affecting both men and women should be taken seriously, that both men and women should be shown the same levels of empathy, understanding and funding. It should, however, mirror reality, not ideology. The levels of empathy, understanding, funding, what have yous, are doled out by ideologues sheltered from the reality of the world inside a hug box handcrafted from diamonds, not by reason or sanity or truth. And any attempt at addressing issues affecting boys and men with state-funded grants of care and compassion are shouted down, disrupted and ripped to shreds by feminists, the choir invincible. Because what about the womans? Showing their true nature and showing that they believe men's conferences take away from women because they themselves aim to take away from men with their actions and with their calls to action. Psychological projections aimed straight at the cinematic canvas of public discourse. We do this, therefore they must do this. They show themselves time and again completely incapable of comprehending that other people do not think and act like they do. Their mask comes off, showcasing with religious fervor their inability to think outside of group identity. Time and again this happens, and time and again we are told that it is only a few feminists, that they care about the genders equally. Well, the lies are rising to the top of the stagnant pool, and the masquerade is ending, showcasing the egotistical beast underneath, the spoiled child that never grew up, never reached emotional maturity. The child that enjoyed tormenting others at school, and then ran crying to the teachers that they were attacked when the tormented victim finally struck back. The spoiled child that was believed by the teachers contrary to the evidence at hand, leaving an innocent boy behind, distressed, chewed out by the teacher and crying eternally internally for the obvious lack of empathy which he must now carry with him for the rest of the life, showcased by a society which proves to him over and over again that it does not have the slightest bit of empathy stashed away somewhere for him. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Please consider sharing, liking and clicking on the notification bell. That would help the channel grow and the message be spread. Also, please take a look at the links down below. Catch you next time.